Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, we'll speak with Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes about President Trump's call to nationalize elections. Also tonight, we'll hear about a recently recognized form of dementia that's increasingly being diagnosed. And we'll meet the 2026 Arizona Teacher of the Year who found her passion in special education. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. President Trump recently said that he wants to, quote, nationalize the voting with a focus on, quote, 15 places, which left it unclear if he was referring to states, counties, or cities. Indeed, there is much that is unclear about the president's call to nationalize elections, leading to concerns that he will try to defy the Constitution and interfere with the upcoming elections. Joining us now is Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes. Good to see you, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me back.
All right. Before I want to get to exactly what he said, we're going to hear from what he said. Before we get your thoughts on just the idea of a president nationalizing elections.
Well, there's nothing more un-American. That's just not how this country was built. That's not what the Constitution says. That's not how we America. And I'm at this stage kind of disappointed that there are so many people that are just kind of going along with what he says. There should be a hue and cry from every corner, particularly constitutional originalists. This should really offend their sensibilities.
Let's hear exactly what the president said. This was on a podcast.
And they vote illegally. And amazing that the Republicans aren't tougher on it. The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting.
So the question is, what power, if any, does the president have in this particular arena?
Well, if you ask the Constitution, the answer is none. If you ask the president, I don't know, you'd probably get a better answer from the dementia doctor who's coming up about what's going on in his mind. But he doesn't have any power here. But what he does have is influence over a whole bunch of folks who he mentioned that he should not have. And people should be very concerned about this. I mean, he didn't even know what he was talking about. Many places, we don't know. And leadership matters in this country. And he is the leader duly elected, and he needs to start acting like it.
Elections clause, 10th Amendment, no mention of a role for the president.
None anywhere when it comes to this thing. This is a state function, and the states are sovereign in this federal republic, and we just want to do our jobs without interference from the White House.
I want to get your reaction to something else he has said, and this was back in 2022.
Sure.
This is a quote. A massive fraud of this type, and he's talking about 2020, and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. That gets your attention, doesn't it?
Well, it raises the hair on the back of my neck because those are the words of a dictator, not a duly elected president in a democracy where the people are supposed to have the power. What he's saying is the notion of due process and the rule of law can be suspended based on the opinion of somebody. That's not how we do this. We don't go by somebody's opinion to suspend rules. There are processes and procedures for everything that we do, and that's because by design, the rule of law is superior to the opinion of any one person in this free society.
But why do we keep hearing about this? Courts, audits, his own former Attorney General.
Because Donald Trump can't get over it. He can't be man enough to admit that he lost 2020 fair and square. And look, Ted, I was on that exact same ballot with Donald Trump. I lost my election, and I don't complain about it. The voters had a different opinion than reelecting me. They had the exact same opinion about him, but he's still hung up on this thing like some spoiled little rich kid that didn't get his way. And until he lets it go, until he grows up and lets it go, we're going to keep hearing about these mythologies.
And among the things that have been unsubstantiated, but the continued idea that there was widespread fraud in 2020, there's also the thought that voter rolls aren't being kept up, aren't being kept clean, aren't being monitored. You've been criticized for that.
Yeah, and my teams have been criticized unfairly. The counties have been criticized unfairly. And let me break a little piece of news right here on your show, Ted, exactly on this point. Some folks have criticized the fact that we use ERIC, the Electronic Information Registration System that helps multi-state voter roll check through that system at the end of January, my office referred 25 voters, or 25 cases, I should say, for prosecution to the Attorney General's office because we know that the system works. It's part of the Arizona Voters First Act that we are proposing that this end up being the way we do it. And among those, actually 28 cases, 25 of these folks voted out of Arizona and then voted in Arizona. And it took us some time to get all of the research done, check the signatures, make sure we're talking about the same folks because we take it seriously. We use these systems that our friends on the other side of the political spectrum criticize. We use them to actually update and maintain our voter rolls. In fact, we've got some voters that we found through the ERIC system that we would not have any other way to find them, and now we're using them to continue to maintain the rolls. The systems we use work. The people that say we don't use them, like the president, are lying.
The systems take how long? It's an interesting story. How long did it take to find these folks?
Well, once we get past the election and we get through sort of getting these into they anonymize the data up into ERIC. It's a multi-state system. We get the anonymized data back. It takes a little bit of time, and that's okay because we want to get it right. Then when we get it back, we got well over 300 possible cases that we looked at. We went through and did our due diligence on every single one, and there were ultimately 28 cases, 25 of which were folks, again, who voted out of Arizona and then voted in Arizona, and those have been referred to the Attorney General, and you know, that's going to be up to the law enforcement folks now to take care of.
I got to ask, the other three, what was were things involved there that were?
The other three, two of them were double voters inside of Arizona, and one of them was someone who voted a ballot for someone else who had been deceased.
So, and that the ERIC system then worked in this particular case. What if someone says 25, 28? Come on now, there was much more fraud.
Well, I'll tell those folks the same thing I told Mark Fincham back when we were running against each other years ago. Show me the evidence. You know, somebody says, like the president says, oh, there's millions of people who are, well, show us the evidence. Show me the names. Show me the votes that were cast. Show me the ballots that were issued to these ineligible or illegal voters. And no one has ever produced an ounce of evidence to back up these claims, Ted. And here's the problem with that. What we're doing is we're seeing people try to make voting harder, to try to limit the scope of access to the ballot because of the unsubstantiated claims, but there's no facts to back up the unsubstantiated claims. So what you're doing is you're limiting voter access, which is voter suppression, based on what? Rumors, innuendo, grievance from one person? So all of the calls that we have for all of this extra scrutiny on our elections, which, by the way, I've just shown you, we already maintain real well, they're coming from lies. And that's what hurts our voters, and that's what I'm fighting against.
As far as, again, the folks that were prosecuted and the idea that they were doing something wrong here, and you've referred to the Attorney General's office, Democrats, Republicans, what do we know about these people?
Well, I'm sure we have that information. I don't, because I don't care. These are folks who utilized our system in a way that I think was wrong enough that I've referred the case to the Attorney General. Politics is not part of this. This is election administration with integrity and with honor. And if somebody is abusing our system and we have the evidence to push it forward to refer for prosecution, again, I'm not a law enforcement agency. I don't do that. We leave that to Chris Mays and her folks. Then I'm going to go ahead and do that. But the point here that I want to make is this. Anyone that's accusing my folks, my staff, county recorders across the state, no matter what party they're with, they're accusing us of not paying attention to our voter rolls and enforcing the law. They're dead wrong. They're lying, and they need to be held accountable for making people afraid that our voter rolls are not well maintained.
Real quickly, before you go, eQual is having some problems again, apparently. What's going on? What is eQual, and why do I keep hearing about this?
So eQual is an electronic way that voters can sign petitions to get candidates on the ballot. Last summer, when we had that hack, we think was from the Iranians, we put a bunch of security stuff onto these really shaky old servers that have not been funded, not been updated, and not been upkept for years and years and years, even though we've been asking for the funding. That happened to get a lot shaky, and we had a couple of hours of outages. We got it brought back up. Everything's working fine now, but this exposes a weakness in the system, and that is that the security measures that we've put on top of it are forcing too much weight onto the underlying architecture, which has been underfunded perennially by the legislature. We've been asking the Joint Legislative Budget Committee to fund us, and they have continuously refused. And they say they want secure elections, they say they want systems that work, but they're not funding them. So what I'm asking is for the Joint Legislative Budget Committee to get the money that they allocated for CD7's special election last year that we did not use, and then put it into use for us now so that we can shore up these systems. It's a budget neutral ask, and we just want to do our jobs. So we're hoping that the Joint Legislative Budget Committee can come through.
But I want you to respond, though. The Republicans are questioning, again, your competence and your seriousness when something like this pops up, especially with something that had a problem previously.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been telling them for years that this is going to happen. I've got all the receipts. I've been telling them that this is a possibility, and now they want to blame me for the problem. See, they don't want to blame themselves for not funding us to get it done right, but I have the receipts. And so they're deflecting because they know that they are wrong. They know that the money is there, and they don't want us to succeed for political reasons. They don't care about the voters like they say they do. And I am very firm in this. I've been warning them for years. These systems need to be updated, and they've been denying us the funding to get it done.
If the revenue neutral funding doesn't come over to your side, or the side that you think needs to go into this equal system, are you concerned about November's vote? Are you concerned about the primaries?
I've been asking for the money to improve these systems since day one.
Should we be concerned?
Yeah, and you should be concerned enough to call your legislators and say, get that money over to the Secretary's technicians so that they can actually shore up these systems so that they work for us, the voters. It's not my money. And by the way, whoever is the Secretary of State after November is, if these aren't fixed, is going to inherit these problems anyway. And it's too late to get new systems. We're just buttressing what exists now. This entire system needs to be replaced, and that is also part of our regular budget ask.
Secretary of State Adrian Fontes, a lot to talk about here. Good to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Yep.
I'm Chef Mark Charbel. Welcome to Check Please Arizona, the show where Arizona residents recommend their favorite restaurants. In this episode, we're doing brunch, barbecue, and tacos.
I love the atmosphere. I think every time I go, I notice something new.
The showstopper to us was the brisket. The brisket,
Me too.
so good.
When you have the bone marrow and they pour the shot down the bone marrow. Did you do it?
I didn't because I was with my children. Watch Thursday at 7 p.m. on Arizona PBS.
Flagstaff, home to Arizona's highest trails and some of the most unique landscapes in the Southwest. These mountain ecosystems are rare and fragile, yet full of life. Up here, hiking isn't just about reaching the summit. It's about experiencing beauty that can only be found where the earth meets the sky. Watch Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on Arizona PBS.
A recently recognized form of dementia is increasingly being diagnosed. It's called late dementia, and it's estimated to affect about a third of people aged 85 and older, and 10% of those 65 and older. To learn more, we welcome Dr. Amit Shah. He's a geriatrician at Mayo Clinic, Arizona. Good to see you again.
Great to be here.
Late, we're not talking late stage dementia.
No.
This is an acronym, isn't it? LATE. What are we talking about?
So late the L is limbic predominant. It's the part of the brain that it tends to affect. The A, which is where they made the acronym from, late, is for age-related. We see it a lot in patients who are above 80s, 90s, 100s, and much less so in younger patients. The T stands for TDP43, which is the protein that seems to have issues and causes some of the problems, and E is for encephalopathy or for the dementia, so late dementia.
So how does this compare to Alzheimer's disease?
So we have probably had this dementia occurring forever. We just never had the ability to diagnose it very well. With Alzheimer's disease, now that there are new ways of diagnosing it, both in terms of amyloid scans or blood tests or medications that are directed at amyloid, we are now finding that people that we thought for sure they have Alzheimer's disease, it's short-term memory that's leading the way, that we do the scans and we find out there's no amyloid in their brain or very little amyloid in their brain. So there must be something else going on, hence the hunt for what is this other thing that looks like Alzheimer's disease but is not. And they found this protein, this TDP43 protein, that kind of gloms into the cells and causes some problems and affects slightly different areas than Alzheimer's disease does, but has an overlap because both of them affect the hippocampus, the short-term memory part of the brain.
And from what I've read, it sounds like on its own, late, slower in developing, not quite as severe, but when you say when it overlaps with Alzheimer's, it's an accelerator.
Exactly. So late is a very slow decline, very much focused in on short-term memory, and much later the other things, if at all, for patients, because it happens in later age. But when we see patients where under autopsy studies where we find both Alzheimer's pathology with amyloid plaques and tau tangles, and we see this TDP-43 protein aggregates, that those patients seem to have had a really aggressive and quick decline with their dementia.
Interesting. As far as treatment now, I mean, there have to be Alzheimer's patients right now who don't have Alzheimer's. They have late. I mean, they've got to be out there somewhere. I mean, how does the treatment differ?
So right now there aren't any FDA-approved treatments, but there's a lot of interest in this. Number one is that maybe some of the reasons why some of our Alzheimer's disease trials and drug trials have not been successful have been we've been treating patients with late dementia with Alzheimer's drugs. So obviously they're not going to work because they don't have the amyloid problems. And so there's a lot of focus on making the diagnosis accurately. And so we don't have that yet, other than looking at someone's slides after they have passed away underneath a microscope of their brain cuttings. So they're working on, just like we have amyloid scans now, to figure out if we can do a TDP-43 scan or such tests, which would then help us to figure out, oh, this person shouldn't get the Alzheimer's treatments because they would be harmful to them. And then lots of interesting work going on and trying to figure out some effective treatments, but nothing that's FDA approved, nothing that's ready for patient
Yeah, I
use
saw
yet.
maybe heart medication being tested.
They're trying some heart medications, they're trying all kinds of other things and mouse trials and other things, but nothing that's really specific to this protein and to the things that what we would say is a really effective treatment. It's going to take years for us to say, oh, if we diagnose this, this is a treatment. However, it's really important prognostically to patients and to their families. And an emphasis from my perspective as a geriatrician is like, hey, if we think it's late dementia, then I'm going to focus a lot of my education on memory aids and short-term memory things, because that's really what the focus is, and educating families that this may take a really long and slow decline rather than a precipitous decline.
Yes. Back to the clinical trials, because I find this fascinating. I mean, that could be an encouraging thing for Alzheimer's research, couldn't it? I mean, if you weed out the things that shouldn't have been in there in the first place, maybe these Alzheimer's treatments were more effective than we thought.
Yeah, and that's very true, because maybe 30% or so of the people who we thought had Alzheimer's, they actually didn't. And this, we've known this forever, because you could do the testing, like this person definitely has Alzheimer's disease. And for patients who are in brain studies where then they have donated their brains to science afterwards, and you look at it, and so often we're like, we could have swore that this was Alzheimer's based on our neuropsychological testing, on the short-term memory problems the patient was having, and there's no Alzheimer's pathology there.
Yeah.
And this is actually really helping us to be able to explain that huge gap.
And when you talk about the slow decline as opposed to the steep decline, it's still a decline. The end stage, is there as much as... I mean, Alzheimer's has some, as you well know, I mean, just really rough end stage. Is it as rough with late?
It can be, especially when there's other pathology going on. The challenge, I think, for a lot of these patients is because it's a lot of people in their 80s, 90s, and 100s, is that there's other health risks that they have, because of their advanced age. And so it's sometimes hard to tease it out. But it looks very similar in the most advanced stages. It's just in the earlier stages, there's less of the other features we see with Alzheimer's disease, and so it tends to be more short-term memory oriented.
Yeah, I was going to say
for a longer time.
And the psychosis that comes with Alzheimer's, I would imagine, maybe a little less with this.
Perhaps, yeah. It's hard. We just don't have as many good trials, but because of the inability to date to make the diagnosis with definitive stamp.
Last question, real quickly here. Is this in an odd way encouraging?
I think it is. The more specificity we can have in terms of dementia diagnoses will help us in therapeutics, helps in prognostication, which I think is really important for families and loved ones and for the patient themselves. How long do I have? When will I get to the point of needing to be in a nursing home or being fully dependent on others for care? So I think it's really quite helpful because, because that's the first step. If we can make a diagnosis, then the next step is finding treatments that will work. And if we skip the steps, as we may have done with amyloid therapies, we may end up with muddy data, which then leads us on a longer and longer search.
Yeah. Dr. Amit Shah, again, geriatrician, Mayo Clinic, Arizona. Always a pleasure, sir. Good to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you.
The Arizona Educational Foundation recently announced its 2026 Teacher of the Year. She is Tiffany Jasef, who teaches special education at Copperview Elementary School in the Sahuarita School District south of Tucson. We welcome the 2026 Arizona Teacher of the Year, Tiffany Jasef. Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
What did you, when you first heard about it, what was your reaction? What did you think?
I described it as kind of a moment that stood still. It was just absolutely incredible. And I hugged my friend Tyler right next to me and just kind of let out a cry. And then it was just overwhelming gratitude.
And over time now, you have to adjust. You're a big deal now over time. You become a big, your thoughts on this recognition?
It's just such an honor. And I love that I get the opportunity to have a voice for my students and my families because as you saw, I teach special education. And so it's just like an honor to be able to share about them and to continue learning as well.
How'd you get into teaching?
I just knew it was something I wanted to do. So back when I was, in college, I decided I wanted to be a teacher. I just never looked back.
Yeah, but general education first, then kind of morphed into special education, yes, which is a special calling.
Yes.
And this is so cool that you're getting this. Why'd you make that move?
Honestly, I think that's the key word right there is calling. It was just something I was interested in. So I got my master's in special education, and from there, wanted to put it into practice, and I fell in love with it. And I really just wanted to help the students who were more underserved and who just needed more.
The differences in teaching general education students and special education students, there is a difference.
There is.
What are the differences?
The main thing is that in special education, everything is more individualized. And so my main curriculum isn't necessarily the state standards, it's what they need to get to these state standards. So I'm looking beyond the curriculum and I'm seeing what is it they need? How can I help them to access the general education classroom? Some of my students don't speak. Some of my students are in wheelchairs. So it's about inventiveness. It's about being as creative as possible to meet their needs.
Is it all? I would imagine it's also about making sure that there is a general education contact there, that it's accessible, that they're not just over here, but they're also in the entire school.
Absolutely. So my school is a model school, honestly, for what inclusion can look like.
Yes.
So I do my best to work with the general education teachers and my inclusion assistants, the ladies that work with me to help the students, they do that as well to help them to get access. How can we make this look? Where can we sit the student so it works best? We want them to engage with their peers. So my students are a part of the community just like everyone else.
You've mentioned that you're strength-based instruction tailored to diverse learning styles. That's that one-on-one thing, isn't it?
Absolutely, and looking to see what can we do to help them learn? How can we make this accessible for them?
I noticed that a couple of quotes here that I want you to comment on because these are such special quotes. Your number one curriculum is love.
Absolutely.
Explain,
Absolutely.
please.
So, I don't believe students can learn unless they feel safe and they feel valued and they're emotionally and physically regulated. So if they come to a place where they feel loved. It's going to make them happy. It's going to make them want to learn. It's going to just open all the doors for them.
And that's even for students who have problems communicating and problems even with their emotions.
Especially for them, honestly, because those things can lead to behavior problems. So they need to know that they're at a place, they're with a teacher who loves them, and that they can make mistakes, and you know what?
Yeah.
It's a new day. We can move on.
You also say that you want your kids to know that they have a place in the world. Boy, is that important for these kids.
Absolutely. Just because they may have been born different or have different needs doesn't take away from the fact that they deserve to be a part of this world and to be included.
Families, parents, probably a little more contact with them than the general education crowd, huh?
Absolutely. I honestly, because of my program, I can have students for years. So if they come to me in kinder, I might have them through 5th grade.
Wow, that's right.
I create meaningful relationships with these families. I consider them part of my circle. I mean, they're just, I can text them, they can text me. We're a team, and it's pretty amazing.
Well, and that's so important for the kids, too, to have that continuity. It would seem like it would be.
Yes, and they know. So if I have a student who might be getting in trouble, they know I'm going to call mom or dad, and we're on the same team.
Yeah. All right. So now you're the Arizona Teacher of the Year. You're a candidate for National Teacher of the Year. You're going to get a week-long trip to the space camp in Alabama, correct?
Correct.
You got an honorary doctorate from NAU. Dr. Joseph, congratulations. And you get to throw out a first pitch at a Diamondbacks game.
Yes.
Holy smokes, that's a lot going on.
I'm going to practice for my throw.
Well, good for you. And you get to go to Washington, don't you?
Yes.
For the national, I think you got a pretty good shot at. Do the kids how much I guess some probably do, and some maybe not so much realize that their teacher's pretty special?
I don't know if they truly do understand, right? But I think that for the students and their families, I think they know something special happened, especially when I had some special guests come in and record us. And so I think they had an idea. But to them, I'm just Miss Tiffany or Miss Jason.
Yeah. Last question here. You are Arizona's Teacher of the Year. Teachers out there having a tough time of it these days. What's your message to teachers?
My message is to do your best to listen to your heart and to follow your heart and to believe in what you do, because we truly are making a difference, and just don't let the hard days win.
Yeah. Tiffany Joseph, 2026 Arizona Teacher of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
We're proud of you. Great job.
Thank you.
And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
When you want to be more inspired, Arizona PBS delivers unforgettable experiences in music, theater, and the arts, thanks to members like you. And
welcome to Friendship Village. Let me show you around.